This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, is the participant listening?
Yes, my name is Rashi. I'm from
You're from?
Kerala.
Okay, you're from Kerala. And what is your qualification?
My qualification is highest qualification is BCA.
Okay. Are you working somewhere?
No,
So you're not working. Fine. Uh, so this is the whole course introduction in here. So we almost 40 years course where you have to dedicate almost 25 hours to 25 hours on your demos and just mute your mic, please.
okay.
25 hours you will dedicate on your demos and rest 15 hours you will be dedicating on your what do you say, the labs and all. That means you will have hands on for 25 hours. So I'll provide you with the labs and all, labs and other related materials that you have to go through. So this is the course structure. First of all, we'll have an introduction about how this course flows. Okay, and then the second module deals about the introduction of vSphere and software defined data center. So we'll have an understanding of how the software defined data center exactly works. That means how, what are the components of data center and all. So this is basically a theoretical type of chapter that we'll have to go through, and after that starts your real practicals in here. So this is your third chapter in here, wherein we have to create our virtual machines. The fourth chapter is about your vCenter server. vCenter server is one of the core component of your where VMware vSphere, you can say. Exactly, the product is called VMware vSphere. VMware vCenter and VMware ESXi are two of the products that we exactly use over here. So you have to basically revolve around VMware vCenter server and ESXi to get your things done. Right, so this might be new to you, these terms might be new to you. So okay, I'm not sure if you have heard it earlier. So if you've heard it earlier, it's okay. If it's new to you, I'm going to just go through all the things bit by bit and make you understand the whole ecosystem, how it works. And the fifth chapter is your virtual machine management. This virtual machine management, we have basically how do we clone a virtual machine, how do we take a snapshots, what are VApps, OVFs, appliances, and so on and so forth. So this is basically about virtual machines and management of virtual machines. Chapter 6 talks about virtual networks. Virtual networks, we deal with something like of standard switches, distributed switches, load balancing algorithms, and jumbo frames and all. Basically, this is basically about networking. Then we'll move on to storage. See, the whole of this theory of ESXi or VMware vSphere is used to create either virtual networks or virtual storage, and particularly in terms of cloud computing, or in terms of computing, you can say it's called infrastructure as a service. So what you are going to learn is to create infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, right? So this whole subject matter is on IaaS, infrastructure as a service, that you are going to learn through. So infrastructure as a service it contains of your virtual machines or computing, virtual computing or virtual net, and the second is virtual networks that we are going to deal with, and after that it is virtual storage. So virtual machines, virtual networks, and virtual storage. And after that we have got a bit of concept on monitoring and management, resource management and resource monitoring. VMware vSphere HA, fault tolerance and protecting data. This is one of the chapter. After that, we have got VMware vSphere DRS and VMware vSphere HA as update manager. Exactly, these two are the essences. These two are the most significant chapters, you can say. VMware vSphere HA and VMware vSphere DRS. At the end, we have got update manager where we have to learn through how to update an ESXi and VMware vCenter server. So this is it. This is what you have to learn. So basically, I'm not going to deal in much over here. Today, I'm just going to show you a small demo on how to install ESXi and get this ESXi running. So before that, just a bit of theory in here. Why do we use virtualization? The question is, why do we use virtualization? Why do we use virtualization? What is the architecture of a physical machine? The physical machine has an architecture like this is your physical box. This is your, let's say, a desktop or a laptop. This is called physical, or this is called sandbox. This is your sandbox, right? Inside the sandbox, you have got at the lower layer, you have got your hardware. This is your hardware here. And above this hardware, so hardware means your hardware means your RAM, CPU, four major components: NIC and disk. So RAM, CPU, network interface card, and disk are the components that you use as your hardware. Above that, you have got your operating system to function. So here you have your OS. So this OS can be anything, right from Windows to Linux. So Windows, and this can be Linux here, right? And above this Windows or Linux, you have your applications. So here you have your applications, application like your applications like your web servers, web server, or your database server. Now think of a situation that this is my this computer, this laptop that I am using is my hardware, right? So I am using a Windows operating system and some application, like I'm currently using MS Paint and several a remote desktop, and let's say I'm using a Chrome browser in here. So what is the amount of CPU that I am using? So let's go to task manager. So if you go to task manager, you go to performance, you'll find that I am hardly using 44% of CPU and I am using 24% of RAM. That means I'm not exactly utilizing the full the machine to its full capacity. If you look at, let's say that the average utilization of this machine is around, you can say 30% also. So is assume that we have utilization as 30% of the total resources. 30% of the utilization, so 30% utilized. Imagine that this machine is of 35,000 rupees, 35,000. So uh, so what you are utilizing is 35% of 35,000, right? So this is the whole mathematics in here, that if you are a CFO of an organization, if you are chief financial advisor of an organization, you will not feel this figure being correct. You will feel that I have invested 35,000 rupees and I am utilizing only 35% out of it, right? So what is required is to increase the amount of CPU, increase the amount of CPU utilization and RAM utilization on your machine. To do that, so to do that, we have to do something called virtualization. So if we'll take this whole architecture into consideration, we'll take this whole architecture, but instead of using an application over here, we'll remove the application layer from this place. We'll not use application over here. We'll use something called virtualization application. Here we'll use something called virtualization application. Virtualization application. And what are the examples of virtualization application? It's your like VMware Workstation. You might have used VMware Workstation. So VMware Workstation, or there are several others. So if you use VMware or Workstation sort of virtualization application over here, so what we can build above this is called virtual machines. So we can build something called virtual machines at this place. Right, so right here we can use where we can create our virtual machines. Now these virtual machines is again like your physical machines. It has its own hardware, it has its own OS, it has its own application and all. So and now you can see that on the same hardware where we were using only applications, and 30% of the whole 30% or 35% of the whole amount invested was utilized. Now we have only now what we have now, we have hardware, OS, and virtualization application, which is VMware Workstation, and above that we use to create virtual machines, and henceforth we will be able to utilize our CPU and RAM to the utmost extent. So how do we test that? So see here, we have got an application called VMware Workstation. So VMware Workstation. All right, so if we use VMware Workstation and if we run several virtual machines in here, let it come up. Yes, so VMware is online. So these are the virtual machines that is available over here. So we can just grab up any of the virtual machine and we can just power it on and see. So just click on this one and power it on. Okay, okay, so the machine is powering on. So let's see the amount of CPU and RAM that is being utilized. So you can see that the CPU has shooted up to almost 70, 80, 90%. Okay, and this memory is still it's increasing a bit. It has not completely increased, but it is increasing a bit, right? So we can just power on another Linux machine over here. So let's power on RH001, power it on. Okay, so this is a failure. Okay, we'll just power on another system over here. Okay, it's done. It's done. So we can see that we can power on a Red Hat Linux machine and a Windows machine at the same point of time under the same hardware. So the platform incompatibility issues has also been solved. Like earlier, we used to have issue that we cannot install Linux on this machine. This was some sort of uh, issues that we faced earlier. But with virtualization, this sort of issue has been resolved. We can install Linux and we can install Windows, and we can utilize the same amount of hardware to do the task. Now we can see that the CPU utilization is 90%, and this is still growing. This is growing to 34%. This has grown to 34%, and it will still grow on. So you can see the graph is increasing here. So basically the point to be understood over here, my lord, is that if you use virtualization, you are using the full capacity of the machine, right? That means you are exactly, you have got two terms over here. One is called total cost of computing, TCC, and another one is called ROI, return on investment, right? So you are decreasing your total cost on computing, so this is decreased, and ROI, or return on investment, is increased here. Is increased. So basically, any question here? Any question?
No.
Okay. So now there are two different types of virtualization. So let's just swipe this off here. Uh, So virtualization, I hope you understood that virtualization is used to bring total cost of computing into it decrease the total cost on computing and increase the return on investment. Now we have to learn types of virtualization. So you understood what is virtualization, I guess. This is important. Virtualization means what? Virtualization means using virtual machines, right? So here we have types of virtualization. Types of virtualization, there are two types of virtualization. One is called type 1, another one is called type 2. So this is your type 2 virtualization. Type 2 virtualization. Now what is type 1 then? If this is type 2, so we have type 1. So type 1 is also called bare metal. Bare metal or bare metal virtualization. Based virtualization. And this is called software based virtualization. Type 2, this is called software based virtualization. Okay, so what is the difference? What makes the difference over here? So think about it that we have this same hardware here and same OS here, but it's same hardware here, but this OS layer is eliminated. We don't have any OS here. That means the operating system is not here. Instead, what we have something called virtual obviously this one doesn't come into picture. If we don't have an OS, we cannot have an application as such, right? So this is not here. So in fact, if this is not here, there is no question of these virtual machines at this place, right? So just remove this one. Now what we have over here then, so we have something called virtualization. We have called virtualization enabled AOS. Virtualization enabled OS, right? And what is the example virtualization enabled OS? Examples of virtualization enabled OS is ESXi. So what is ESXi? ESXi is nothing but it's a virtualization enabled OS. It's an OS, but it is specifically used for virtualization. So what you can do over here, you can build virtual machines at this place. So you can build up virtual machines at this place, right? So it's the same thing, same story is there, but what is the twist? The twist is that here we have got an application that is used to do the virtualization, right? Here this is called virtualization application. Here we don't have an application. Here we can directly virtualize our ecosystem. We can create virtual machines in here or above a virtualization enabled OS. So where makes the difference? Which one should we use, or what is the criteria in here of usability? So the point is that here the system has to cross three layers: one layer, two layer, and the third layer to make anything work. We all know that a machine has to work, so the machine has to work on the hardware. So this if I just click on the CD-ROM drive over here in this virtual machine and click on eject, the CD-ROM drive tray will come out over here. So the point to be understood over here is that anything you work on the hardware exactly. So it has to cross the layers. So here also the same thing has to be there. So the virtual machine has to cross layers, but the number of layers that it has to cross is less. So significantly the performance in type 1 virtualization is increased. That the performance in type 2 virtualization is not that much over here. Now the second point is to be understood is that this is used for production environment. That means you will find this in this type 1 bare metal virtualization in organizations, while you will not find this type 1 type 2 is used in your home. It's used in your home, or it's used in developers machine to develop the thing. It's not used for what do you say, production. Production means what? Production means in organizations where you create your servers and all, it's this type 2 virtualization is not used over here. Now we have to use type 1 virtualization, which contains of ESXi. So what we are going to learn today, is that we have to use ESXi how do we install ESXi, and how do we create virtual machines above ESXi. But there is a glitch. You cannot install ESXi on your laptop. It will not support, simply it will not support, it will just deny that I cannot install ESXi on my laptop. So what you can do, instead of installing ESXi on your laptop, you can take this virtualization enabled OS ESXi, and you can create this as a virtual machine over here. That means you just go and create a virtual machine over here on a sorry type 2 virtualization. That means on above a type 2 virtualization, we can install a type 1. So this is like a test purpose over there. This is like a simulator. Okay, why cannot we install ESXi, and where we can install ESXi then? So first of all, ESXi cannot be installed on a laptop because it does not contain drivers. Laptops drivers or laptops, in fact NIC's drivers are not there, network interface cards drivers are not there in your laptop over there. While if you want to install what do you say, ESXi, what you will require is servers. So if you have seen servers, it's okay. If you haven't seen, let me show it to you how the server looks like. So if you just type in here rack servers, so this is the example. So this is the hardware that you will require. Right, this is the hardware that you will require. It's called, like, it's PowerEdge R230, right? So it's from Dell. So in the same way, you have servers from HP, you have servers from IBM. So these are the servers that you will require, in fact, where you can install ESXi. You cannot install ESXi on a desktop or on a laptop. So the point is that everybody cannot afford to purchase this one. So this is costly, right? This comes in around more than 50k over here. So you cannot afford to invest 50k just for learning purposes, right? So what we can do, we can just do one thing. So wait a sec. So what is the cost? Is the cost written somewhere? No, just currently unavailable. This is just because of lockdown, everything is currently not available. Okay, so it costs you around 50,000 rupees, but you cannot afford to invest 50,000 rupees just for installing ESXi and learning purposes. So what we can do, we can install, we can have a virtual machine, like I showed you that we can have these virtual machines. So yeah, we have Windows Server 2016, we have a Red Hat Linux. In the same way, we can install a what do you say, ESXi over here instead of 2016 or Red Hat Linux. So what I'm going to show you is how to install ESXi. Okay, here this is your VMware workstation, right? So this is your VMware workstation. So if you want to install ESXi over here, go to File, New Virtual Machine, click on Next, select the version of ESXi server that you want to install. I will take VMware Workstation 12.0. Click on Next. I will select this. I will install operating system later. Click on Next. VMware ESX. I will install VMware ESX 6. Click on next, and I will name this as ESX 001. Click on next. So there we require minimum of two processors, right? So we have a number of processors as two, number of cores per processor as one. So total processors is two. So in fact, what I mean to say that when you go for purchasing this sort of servers over here, this sort of servers by default contains two processors. So you don't have to worry about that. But in your laptop it contains only one processor, but it contains four cores. So see here, these all each of these individual identity is called a processor. So there I have got four logical processors. So what I can do, I can take up over here as maximum as 4. So this I can take over here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take only 2. So this is the minimum requirements, that you should have 2 processors to install ESXi. Click on next. So it one more thing, it requires 4 GB of RAM, so 4096 MB of RAM. So two processors and 4 GB of RAM. So this is one of the interview questions they ask you, that how much of RAM do you require and how much of processors do you require. So you require at least two processors and 4 GB of RAM to install ESXi. Click on next. This is networking, so let it be NAT. Click on next. Click on next. Select the disk as SCSI. Click on next. Click on next. So store the virtual disk in a single file, and I will take the, let us say, around 40 GB of disk over here. So click on next, and click on next, and click on finish. So this is a blank machine that we have created, right? So this is like going to market and telling that give me a server. So this, they gave you a server. So this is the server that we purchased. Now what we have to do, now we have to bring it out to our office or to our home, and we have to install ESXi inside that. So to install ESXi, we'll require a ESXi CD DVD. So here CD DVD is again virtual in nature. That means it comes in the form of ISO images. So if you click on CD DVD IDE and use ISO image, browse, and select VMware vSphere 6.7 and VM So this is the one. See, VM So if you go and purchase VMware vSphere, you will get this package. This will contain three DVDs. One is your VMware ESXi, which is called VM or hypervisor in short. What I mean to say, that this particular thing over here is called hypervisor. Virtualization enabled OS it's technically called hypervisor. So I'm just writing it down, HYPER, hyper VISOR. So this is what you will require. So this is a generic name, hypervisor. So what you will require is a hypervisor. So you came over here and you selected this VMvisor. This is the hypervisor. How will you identify it? If just somebody renames that, so it's of the smallest size, and click on OK. Now power on this virtual machine. Okay. Now installation is pretty easy. Just press enter. will take some time to load, and a few minutes to install after that. Okay, so this is the first screen that you will get just after loading. So installation is very easy. So at the bottom over here it's written C, escape to cancel and enter to continue. You press in the center of the screen and press enter. So F11 to continue. So press F11. Again enter to continue. US default is the default keyboard layout. Root password, I'll keep the root passwords 1234 at the rate ABCD and 1234 at the rate capital A small b c d. Enter. And F11 to install. That is it. Now the installation is successfully completed and we have to reboot the system, so press enter to reboot it.
Yeah, hi Binayak.
Yeah, yes, please.
This
HTTP
conference
colon
will
slash
now be
slash.
recorded.
Okay, so it's written over here, to manage this host, go to HTTP colon slash slash 192.168.124.148. So we have to open up a browser and we have to just type in HTTPS colon slash slash 192.168.124.148. So if it is correct, it is going to come up 192.168.124.148. Yes, it's correct. Okay, so click on advanced, proceed to this. Because it is a self-signed certificate, that is why we are seeing, otherwise it would not have given that warning. You type in here username as root and the password is 1234 at the rate ABCD. Okay, so you see this is the look and feel of your ESXi. This is how your ESXi looks like. It shows you that it has got this much of CPU, it has got this much of memory, it has got this much of storage. This is the place where you can create your virtual machine. So right click, create and register a virtual machine, create a new virtual machine, click on next. I'll name just install a small virtual machine, DSL 001, and I will take this family as Linux, take guest OS as other Linux 32-bit. Click on next. I will install it in Datastore 1. Click on next. This Datastore 1 is the same hard disk that you attached inside ESXi. Now what you have to imagine? Now you have to imagine that this is not here. This is not here. We are working directly over here. We have accessed this one, this ESXi, using https://192.168.124, or whatever IP address was written over there. That is it. And we got a page, and here we can build this orange colored virtual machines in here, right? So come over here. This is where we are installing on a 40 GB drive. Click on next. I require 256 MB of RAM, and I don't require that much of hard disk, so 1 GB of hard disk is sufficient. And click on next and finish. So while we installed something on this one ESXi, this is how we created the virtual machine. After that, we went over here and we added up the ISO image. The same thing we have to do over here. We have to add the ISO image. So how do we add the ISO image? First of all, go to storage, go to Datastore 1, Datastore browser, upload the ISO image. So I'll just create a folder over here. First of all, click on this and click on create directory. I'll name this directory as ISO create directory. Click on this, upload, and I have my ISO images over here, ISO, and here we have DSL ISO, DSL ISO. So it will hardly take a few minutes to upload, depending upon the size of the ISO image it takes. So you can feel that if I get this IP address right from any place, we can exactly access this one, isn't it? That means even you are sitting over this ESXi is located, this ESXi is located somewhere in US, and you can access this as long as you have the IP address, you can access that using the IP address in India, isn't it? So the point over, the whole point over here is that you create your, you can create and administer your infrastructure right from any place in any being in any part of the world. So ISO image is uploaded. So this is like a web browser. You have got an interface. As long as you can know how to email a thing, you know you can email to anybody from sitting on any computer from any part of the world. In the same way, you, as long as you know how to create virtual machines and you get the IP address, you can access it directly from any part of the world. So click on, so this is there. Now we have to add the disk. So right click over here, edit settings, same thing, only the interface has changed. There is no difference. So we'll use this CD DVD Datastore ISO file. So the ISO image is here. Click on this ISO image and select it. And don't forget to make this connected checkbox on. Save. And just click on this and power it on. We just open up the console, open console in a new window. This is your Linux Live. If you just press enter over here, it will boot up. So this is all a new technology. It takes some time to be accustomed to this one, right? So this is how the virtualization works. So any question?
No.
Okay. Done. So I am finished for today. I don't have to teach much today. So we'll come with further sessions tomorrow. Thank you so much for being with me. I hope that this has been informative for you. Srinivas, any question from your side? No questions. Okay, thank you so much for being with me. I hope that this has been informative for you. We'll be right back tomorrow. Till then, have a nice time. Bye bye.